Okay, so looking at the sine wave, this is a sine wave, that's amplitude, maximum, minimum is at -1. This is for a period, and you must know that this would be y is equal sine of x, and also because this is happening between 0 and 360, you will always see that there will be x equal less 360 and 0. It means this whole sine wave is between 0 and 360. You need to know the effects of this value here in front, if there is a value, and if we add something. So this value here in front will be the maximum. So if this change to a 2, a 3 or a 4, it means my maximum value here will change to a 2, 3 or 4. Say 2, then it means this is now 2, it will be -2. That's what you need to know for this magnitude, just how big this wave, this amplitude will be. Then you must know that I can add something like this, and then what will that effect be? It will be then y is equal to, say, sine x plus 1. It means my whole graph, instead of starting on this line, will move up, shift by one entire unit. It means I will have to start there, that's now 1, that's 2. For y is equal to sine x plus 1, my whole graph will move up by 1 unit. So it starts there. Further on, everything will remain exactly the same. It's 180, 270 and 360. So at 90 we'll get the maximum of 2. That will go there. There's 180, same, go down to 70 and then go up. So the whole graph moved up by 1 unit if it's +1. If it had to be -1, then it would have meant that my whole graph, instead of moving there, whole graph would have moved down by 1 unit. It means there's -1, and then I would have to start on this line right here, and it will go like this up. Value here would have been then -2, so at 80 oh, 90 90, 180, 270, so it would have gone like up and then through there and up again, turn there 270. So if it's +1, shift up by 1 unit. If it's -1, sine x -1, it will shift down. Instead of starting there, it will shift down by 1 unit. And pay attention to that. It lies between period 0 and 360. That's that. And the last one for sine is also, what if you get something like y is equal to sine of 2x. Also for 0 and 360. Then what does that mean? And it means, let's move this here. Okay, then it means I have 90, I have 180, I have 270, I have 360. If it's sine of 2x, I will have, instead of having one of these sine waves in between 0 and 360, I will now have two sine waves. and each one will be the 360 divided by 2 would be 180. So it means it's 180. From there to there I will have one wave, from there to there I will have another wave. This would be the half. Half means half of that will go up, down, and there. Then the other one will start that, down, and up. That's the effect of 2x. Take the period 360 divide by 2, and then you get that 2 waves. That's a 3. You will have 3 of that, and so on. So you need to know that's how a sine wave look. Value in front will be indicating your magnitude, how big this wave is from here to here, the amplitude. That's the effect of that. Effect of, if I have a plus or minus 1, a plus 1 will move the graph up by 1 unit. Instead of starting there, I start now there. I increased by 1 unit, I moved it up the entire graph. If it's a negative, minus 1, it will shift down by 1 unit. Then, if it is sine of 2x, take the period, which is 360, I divide it by 2, and that's how I know how far I go for each graph. There will be 2 graphs, 2 sine waves, 2 cycles, and then they will be each 180 degrees long. It's for the sine wave. Then you will have to know also the cosine wave. Or if you look in your textbook, cosine wave is looking like this. Same rules apply. That's just how the cosine wave look. The value in front here again also indicate this value, the amplitude. In this case, if it's a minus 1, then that would be now the 1. So that value will just be an increase in this amplitude value, the value in front. Again, you can also have plus 1, plus 2. If it's plus 1, again this whole graph will shift 1 unit up. If it's plus 2, this graph will shift 2 units up, to go higher. If it's negative 1, it will go lower, and so on. Also, if in this case it can also have y is equal to cosine of 2x, and again this means it will be 2 cosine graphs, and with taking in consideration 0, x, and 360. Okay, 0 and 360, so it means if it's 0 and 360, then it will look out. That's 180. That's 360. Cosine 2x, it means there will be 2 cosine graphs in this. Each one, if you take your period of 360 divided by 2, each one will be 180 degrees. This period will be 180 for each one. Then, so that's 180. Half of 180 is 90. So it means my turning point here would be like there. This is 90. This would be 45. This would be 135. Here's the point. Now I have to go from there to there, up and there. Then the same thing here on this side. Is that point. Model, go right through there and up, and there's it. Same thing apply. 2x, 2 cosine graphs. Plus 2, plus 1, plus 1, move up 1, plus 2, move up 2. If it's minus, move down 1, the whole graph, shove down 1. Minus 2, move down 2, shove down 2. This value in front will be your maximum, your amplitude value. Then if you come in the exam, they normally do is they give you a question and then they have asked you to draw two of these graphs, cosine and a sine graph. Say for argument's sake, here's my sine graph, and then the cosine graph would be, where is it now? Let's make that same point there, there, there. Let's make that there. Cosine graph, middle. It's 180. Okay, 80. It's 90. It is 70. Cosine graph will go in there. These are the asked in the exam. They ask you to draw cosine and sine graph. Then the questions will be, write down the values where sine of x is equal to cosine of x. Then you look at your graph, you look where they intersect. It could be that point, and it could be that point, and then you read that value off. You read that value of your graph, estimated. Then I can also ask, now write down where sine of x is equal to 1. It's 1 and that's minus 1. Minus the graph y is equal to sine of x, and this is y is equal to cosine of x. So where sine x is equal to 1, look at the blue one, it's at that point, that point, 2 points. So where sine x equal to 1 is x is equal to 90 and x is equal to 270. And they can also ask where cosine of x is equal to 1. And where is cosine of x equal to 1? At that point, and that point. And that point will be, first one will be where x is equal to 0 degrees, then where x is equal to this point here, 180 degrees. The last point would be 360. Okay, that's basically how they ask it in the exam question papers.